Hello YouTube, this is We All Juggle Knives with the Cold Steel Holdout 3 folding knife. This is the new model featuring the Carpenter steel, yes, upgraded steel. Alright, now you see G10 handle scales, right, with a fairly rough texture, polished pocket clip. It is a two-position pocket clip. You got holes for lightness, as well as they add some extra grip. Triad lock. It's a very slim design, weighs 2.5 ounces, and you see it's got the thumb stud. It's a reversible thumb stud, right? Got the screw on one side, thumb stud on the other, and the opening fairly smooth and easy. And the blade itself, the CTS-XHP, alright, that's also called Carpenter steel. It's a 3-inch blade, satin finish, full flat grind, very pointed, also extra wide considering it's only a 3-inch length. You got some jimping here, right? 2 jimps there on the thumb rest, right? And I like the blade shape, great for slicing. And as far as the initial sharpness, yeah, cold steel is good at giving you very sharp blades indeed. And here's a size comparison for you with the big brothers. Okay, these are the 6-inch models of the holdouts, right? So, and I have the serrated and the plain edge, and you see how the big brothers completely dwarf this holdout 3, right? But I envision this as an everyday carry knife, kind of a utility. Oh yes, I got a little splinter the other day from my throwing knife targets, right? But you see that, I got the 6-inch, the 3-inch. There is also a 4-inch model. I do not have the 4-inch model of the holdout because in that 4-inch category I did decide to go with the 4-inch model of the Counterpoint. Alright, so that's a pretty good knife as well. Okay, so that's the overview of the features of the knife, but now let's talk knife philosophy. This year Cold Steel is switching from AUS 8 to the Carpenter steel in a lot of their models, upgrading the steel but also raising the prices as well. So I was trying to think, which models of Cold Steel knives does the steel actually matter for? You know what I'm saying? Because, for example, take this Marauder, this Cold Steel Marauder buoy. I think it's designed as a fighting knife, a fighting buoy. Also maybe a pig sticker, because look at the range and look how pointed this thing is. And, for a pig sticker or an enemy sticker or whatever, the steel is not going to matter. This is AUS 8. It doesn't matter, it wouldn't matter if it was like a super steel with super edge retention because it's a weapon knife. So, for these type of designs, upgraded steel won't really matter. It's just going to make you pay more money, right? Likewise, for a knife like this, first of all, it's fully serrated, and the serrations are going to cut or rip or saw with the points of the serrations, right? So the edge retention is just not going to matter that much. And also, when you got a 6-inch, basically Scottish dirk shape of blade, it's stabby. So again, for a knife like this, which I would see as a weapon design, the upgraded steel is not going to matter, all right? But for a knife like this, the upgraded steel turns this from an okay EDC knife to a top-notch elite EDC knife. You know, the thing about this Holdout 3 is that it was already very light, 2.5 ounces, very slim, so easy to carry. The blade shape is a winner. Really, the only thing this needed was an upgrade to the steel, and that's exactly what cold steel did. So I think of all the new Carpenter steel models, one like this definitely benefits the most from that upgrade, and it goes from kind of a beater EDC to just a straight up high quality top notch EDC, because now you have the superior edge retention, and I didn't mind at all the increase in price, because totally worth it. In fact, if this were a Spyderco, you know, using the Carpenter steel, if this were a Spyderco, this would be over $100. All right, so the current price of $70 is very reasonable, and that price might even go down, because as more stores get them in stock, you know, prices tend to go down. All right, so very reasonable price. In fact, speaking of Spydercos with Carpenter steel, my Manix 2 Sprint Run is a, you know, full flat grind Carpenter steel, just like this. I believe this was at least 150 when it was in production, right? So yeah, both these knives are great, and for much the same reasons. Strong types of lock, the Carpenter steel, as well as the blade shapes. You know, this will slice through things much like a kitchen utility knife. And as far as that blade shape, great for everyday tasks because, well, first of all, the belly starts right here. Like at that point, it starts, the edge begins curving back right to the tip. So that is a huge amount of belly for a short blade. Very efficient. You know, a lot of people will carry a utility knife in addition to their regular folding knife, but with a tip this pointed, this can do double duty. You might be able to go without the utility knife just because that tip is so pointed. You know, you can open packages and boxes like so. So yeah, I'm really liking this. You know, like I said, if this was a Benchmade or a Spyderco, it would be double the price. All right, 2.5 ounces, super slim, pretty much the strongest lock you can get, winning blade shape. Now it has upgraded steel. Yes, this very highly recommended if you want something to actually do work with and use every day that's practical and isn't super expensive. I'd recommend this Holdout 3 with the Carpenter steel upgrade. And we haven't even talked about the fact that it's also an elite folding boot knife as well, but I think you can figure that out. But that's just icing on the cake. All right, YouTube, this has been We All Juggle Knives. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'm out.